So, the first one says, a boy flying a string, or flying a kite, lets out 300 feet of string, which makes an angle of 38 degrees with the ground. You're going to have to be able to draw the picture from this. There's a ground, and we can assume that the boy is basically a point on the ground, and he lets out a bunch of string to the kite. So here's your kite. How much string did the boy let out? 300 feet of string. So there's the string. Assuming the string is straight, how high above the ground is the kite? So we need the height, which is above the ground. And what angle does the string make with the ground? A 38-degree angle. Now, for trig problems, you must draw the picture. So instead of playing on the calculators, you should be following along and paying attention and drawing the pictures. Once we do that, we set it up. All right, what side do we have here for the height? That's your opposite side. The string represents which side? The hypotenuse. Now, which one, the sine, the cosine, or tangent, has the opposite in the hypotenuse? The sine. So the sine of theta is the opposite over the hypotenuse. So the sine of 38 degrees is equal to h over 300. Multiply both sides by 300. So you get 300 times the sine of 38 degrees, which is equal to h. Then you use your calculator. Go 300 times, if you're just using a scientific calculator, you go 38 sine, because that'll give you the sine. So it'd be 300 times 0.6156. And so in this case, h is equal to 184.70 feet. So with 300 feet of kite out, the kite is actually almost 185 feet above the ground. Any questions on the kite problem? These are all typical problems that you're going to see. All right, next up is ladder leaning against the wall. There's your wall. There's your ladder. Makes an angle of 74 degrees with the ground. So it makes an angle of 74 degrees with the ground. If the foot of the ladder is 6.5 feet from the wall, now where would that go? If you're 6.5 feet from the wall, the adjacent side. It says how high up the wall is it going to be? So there's your height right there. I want this side now. For this angle, I have an opposite side, an adjacent side. So which one, the sine, cosine, or tangent, are we going to use? The tangent of the angle is the opposite over the adjacent. So in this case, the tangent of 74 degrees is going to be equal to the opposite over the adjacent, which is 6.5. Do some algebra, 6.5. Do some algebra here, 6.5. So we get 6.5 times the tangent of 74 degrees, which is h. So, in this case, we figured out that the height that the ladder is up on the wall is 22.67 feet. Based on all that given information. Any questions on the second problem? All right, a straight road to the top of a hill is 2,500 feet long. So I'm going to draw a horizontal, and I'm going to draw a straight road to the top of the hill. That's 2,500 feet long. It says, and makes an angle of 12 degrees. So that's 12 degrees. Now the hill is kind of like that. So the big question is, how tall is the hill? If it took us 2,500 feet to get to the top of the hill, I need to figure out this value, h. What side is that? Opposite. So I have an opposite, I have a hypotenuse. We're going to use the sine. So the sine of 12 degrees, what's the opposite side? H. And what's the hypotenuse? 2,500. So we got 2,500 on each one. Multiply both sides by 2,500. So we get 2,500 times the sine of 12 degrees is equal to h. H is going to be approximately 519.78 feet. What was that? You could just round to 2 places. Any questions on that one? I need you guys paying attention, please. All right. Question number 4 says an airplane climbs at an altitude of 11 degrees with the ground. Find the ground distance it travels when it attains an altitude of 400 feet. Now, where's the 400 feet going to go for altitude? Yeah, the height. The 400 feet is right here. And it says we want ground distance. But do we want the distance that the plane actually traveled, or do we want the distance here? Which one? The first one or the second one? We want the second one. So now, I have an opposite side. I have an adjacent side. So in this case, I need the tangent. The tangent of whatever the angle is going to be the opposite over the adjacent. What's the opposite side? 400 feet, and that's an x. Now the algebra says if we multiply that side by x and multiply that side by x, we get x times the tangent of 11 degrees is equal to 400. And then you have to divide by the tangent of 11 degrees. In actuality, what you can do is, if you have the tangent of 11 degrees is equal to 400 over x, you can take these two and switch them. Only when the denominator is unknown can you switch this. The x can take the spot of the tangent, and the tangent can take the spot of the x. Alright, the answer to this is 2,057.82 feet. Please, we don't need those type of comments. we need 400 divided by the tangent of 11. So I'll type 11 and hit tangent. And there's your answer.
How'd you mess up and got 77.7?
Because I multiplied instead of divided. All right, questions on those four? Mr. Fordari. Sure. All right, the last four are the same types of questions, but these four will get you started on what you need to do.